Happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of Spirit Hub's virtual happy hour series. We have a super exciting show with some awesome cocktails and some awesome spirits. I'd like to bring in from Catoctin Creek Distilling Company in Purcellville, Virginia. I have Edward Harris here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Edward. I'll be talking you through Catoctin Creek today. I'm really excited. Let's get started.
Awesome. So for the people that are first joining us for the first time, welcome. For the people that are watching us again, welcome. But I'd like to highlight who we are at Spirit Hub. We're an e-commerce platform that supports independent distilleries from all across the United States. We offer delivery of these products to the state of Illinois, so directly to your door. A retailer, not a distributor, just to make that exact. We do offer out of these independent distilleries, we offer 1,300 products across over 200 distilleries. Again, with that, these virtual happy hours are obviously meant to kind of bring us all together and really get you guys to focus on the distilleries that we have on this show. And for instance, Catoctin Creek Distilling Company is super excited. Again, if you have any questions throughout this, please feel free to comment on the live feed on Facebook. We'd be happy to answer those at the end or even during this. But on top of that, let me hand it off to Edward Harris, who's going to talk about himself and as well as about what Catoctin Creek has to offer.
All right. Hi, everyone. So I guess I'll start off talking about myself first. I am the son of Catoctin Creek owners, Scott and Becky Harris. I'm also the national brand ambassador for the brand. And I've been with the company, obviously being the son, I've been with the company since we opened in 2009, which has been a long time. And my first job was for the company as a tour guide. So now here we are, however many years it is later.
Since birth.
Yeah. So today we're going to be focusing on two of our products. We're going to be focusing on our 80 proof Catoctin Creek. This is our flagship whiskey. And then we're also going to be talking about our 92 proof Watershed Gin, which is really nice as well. So those two products, the whiskey is aged for 2 years in Minnesota or Virginia oak barrels. We're kind of midst of switching between the two, so a little bit of both oak barrels. And all of our products are single barrel. So we focus on that very specifically, and kind of that's our thing.
Cool. What do you find, what's exciting about this whiskey? Like why would I buy it? Why would anybody else want to get into it?
Well, first off, I think what's super cool about this whiskey and the brand is this whiskey brand is mainly made up of the 75% women. And that's including in production, which I think is super cool because it's a male dominated industry and to have a distillery that's a ton of women making whiskey is just super cool, and to have my mom be one of them is even cooler. And the whiskey tastes amazing. It's super smooth. If you don't like, your traditional ryes, it's a more smoother, sweeter rye. It's not the grassier notes that you get from some of your Kentucky ryes. It's a little bit of a Irish style rye. It tastes like an Irish whiskey. And so that's awesome. That's really cool because it's kind of almost like a gateway for people that may not have had rye before but want to get into something new.
Cool. And
then that kind of goes the same for our gin, because our gin, when we first started out, our gin was kind of created. My mom doesn't like gin. She didn't like gin when we started out, so she wanted to make a gin that she would like. So she dialed back on the juniper a bit and made more of a modern style mixed with an Old Tom. So you get a little more sweetness. You get a little more of the other botanicals first. And the juniper just kind of comes and go. My mom likes to say that the juniper is like my dad at a party. First in, and then he kind of trickles back and just lets everyone else do their thing. So it's like first to arrive, first to leave.
Very relatable. Just kidding.
Yeah.
And then if you were to categorize this gin, would you say it's more botanical based, like you were saying earlier, or how do you guys even make the gin?
So the gin, I would say the gin is a little bit botanical. It's definitely lighter on the juniper, so it's not as much of that London dry style gin where it's almost like drinking a Christmas tree. Our gin is actually made from the tails of our whiskey. So of course, when you make whiskey or any alcohol, you have the heads, the hearts, the tails. The heads are the hand sanitizer. Don't drink it. Not good for you. The hearts is what we use for the whiskey. So that goes right into the barrel. And then the tails is kind of that fusel oil, that other part. And so we take that, we redistill it, steep it. Making gin is kind of like making tea.
I completely get that. But I think, thank you for touching on all those spirits. I think that they both sound very appetizing, but I think the big reason why a lot of people are here are not only to learn about you guys, but also to learn about the awesome cocktail recipes that you're going to be making us. So in the second portion of this, which we're going to start, Edward Harris is going to be here to make us 2 appetizing cocktail recipes, which we'll touch on in just a second. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to Edward, who's going to touch on the 2 cocktail recipes that he was making for us, one from the Roundstone Rye 80 proof whiskey and one from the Watershed gin.
All right, so first step for these 2 cocktails, they're both citrus-based. When it comes to citrus-based cocktails, you need ice. So I'm going to be right back with some ice.
And while we're waiting, we'll play some music. And he's back.
All right, so after you've grabbed your ice, we're gonna start with, I think we should start with gin, because why not? So we're gonna start with a cocktail that I came up with for Easter. This is my Rosemary Raspberry Gimlet, which is kind of my own twist on a gimlet. The syrup that I use, instead of regular simple syrup, I use my own creation. It's a raspberry rosemary syrup, and I made it especially with quarantine in mind, actually. The raspberry aspect of it is actually Smucker's raspberry jam that I boiled down with about a cup of water and 2 sprigs of rosemary, and then double strained it before putting it in the squirt bottle. So it's really easy to make, and you can make your own variation of it with any jam that you have in your fridge.
I think everyone likes Smuckers, so don't worry.
Yeah, Smuckers it does the job. It does the job.
Right.
So the first thing you're going to start off with is 2.5 ounces of your gin. Let's see, do I have enough? New bottle. There
you go. And can you talk about what else you'll be needing for this recipe? Did you already go on those?
So this is a pretty easy recipe. Gimlets are pretty easy to make at home as well. All you really need is lime juice, gin, and some sort of syrup. So simple syrup or some fruity syrup like I did. So just some form of sweetener and gin and lime. It's really easy to make. So you did your 2.5 ounces of gin, then you're going to add a 1/2 ounce of your lime juice. And then a 1/2 ounce of your simple syrup.
Awesome.
And add some ice. And you're going to shake it.
Perfect. Great shake.
And once you finish shaking it, you're just going to strain it into a coupe glass.
That looks delicious.
And it's going to come out this really nice pink color. And you can garnish it if you'd like with a fresh sprig of rosemary, or you can just leave it without a garnish. Sometimes garnishes just get in the way.
Yeah, right. Well, for anybody that's interested that's watching, that if you check the feed, you should see the recipe there. It's also on spirithub.com. If you do search a raspberry gimlet, it should pop up for Catoctin Creek Distilling. Very easy to make, very easy at-home cocktail. So take a look there after this.
So then the next cocktail we're going to do is our whiskey cocktail. And this one is not my creation. This one I actually discovered, and don't ask me how. This one's called the Man of War, and it's actually a very old cocktail. It's named after a legendary racehorse from some time ago. Didn't say when, so I can't tell you that. But it's called the Man of War, and it's a interesting cocktail. I had never heard of it before, but when I tried it, I instantly loved it. And so I thought I'd include it in this for anyone that hasn't had it before. So this one's really easy as well. You're going to start with 2 ounces of whiskey. Then you're going to do 1 ounce of orange curacao, Grand Marnier, basically any orange liqueur.
Got it.
Grand Marnier is going to be a little sweeter, of course, than orange curacao, but I have Grand Marnier, so that's what I'm using. And so that's
is that your favorite?
I love Grand Marnier, and I also love orange curacao, but orange curacao is harder to find sometimes.
Got it. I don't think anybody's traveling right now, so Grand Marnier will do.
Yeah, and so then after the Grand Marnier, you're going to add a 1/2 ounce of sweet vermouth.
Okay.
And sweet vermouth is easy to find. I don't know what it's like up there, but here in Texas, you can find it at the grocery store. So.
And you can find it on spirithub.com. So add that to your order.
There you go. Add it to the order. And then last, you're going to finish with 1/2 ounce of lemon juice.
Always lemon juice.
And then add ice.
The music back on as he's getting ice.
And then you're just going to shake it again.
$15 to 20 seconds.
What was that?
Is that 15 to 20 seconds?
Absolutely.
Good.
So then for this one, got a nice gold color.
Perfect.
And this one, you can garnish with lemon and a brandied cherry. Just kind of put it in there.
That looks awesome.
There you have it. That's the Man of War.
And that's also going to be, that should be on the feed as well, the Man of War from Catoctin Creek. Like I said, the websites are in the cocktail recipe section on spirithub.com. Thank you for that, Edward. I do also have, we have a question that came in. Are you ready, Edward?
I am ready. Ready as ever.
Perfect. As you're pouring yourself, I wish I had a drink like that. So Amy Howry asks, are you using brand new barrels, or are you using older barrels with each batch that you produce of the whiskey?
Are we using brandy barrels for the whiskey?
Sorry, brand new barrels. So are you guys using new barrels for it, or are you using older ones?
Yeah, we use new barrels for the whiskey. In fact, if I remember right, and this could have changed at least in Virginia, but the last time I was in Virginia, it was actually legal to use brand new barrels for whiskey. So we have to always get new barrels. Got it.
That's good to know.
It's an old law from the lumber industry.
Okay.
To get money.
Some education for everybody.
Yeah. History lesson.
Yeah, right. And then I have a question for you. So some of the viewers may not know, but you guys actually, we have 3 other whiskeys on our website, all being with the same name, just with a different ending. Can you go into the differences or explain why each one's a little different?
Yeah, I can. They're all Roundstone Rye, and then the difference is the proof. So the 80 proof Roundstone Rye, the 92 proof Roundstone Rye, and the cask proof Roundstone Rye. And I like to preface this with our whiskey and our gin are a family. So they're all DNA, they're all alike, but the differences are on the outside. So for all of our whiskeys, it's 100% rye based mash bill, but the difference is what happens naturally in the aging process. So as we go through, because we're a single barrel distillery, we have to kind of taste each barrel, because no barrel ever tastes exactly the same. You can't ensure that.
Right.
And so because we don't blend barrels, we taste them and then we kind of gauge which direction it's going. So for instance, our 80 proof is very smooth. It's sweet. I like to call it banana bread in a bottle. It's very nice, easy front porch sipper. Whereas the 92 proof is going to be a lot spicier, definitely a lot spicier profile. And then the cask proof is very rich and velvety, but actually it's dangerously smooth.
Oh yeah.
And then the gin, of course, is made from the tails of the whiskey. So it is also kind of like the first cousin. So
Awesome.
I like to describe them as a family because they're all kind of related.
That's a really good analogy in putting that together. Another thing I had for you though, and you may have touched on this earlier, but can you dig deeper to tell us about Virginia rye whiskey itself?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
actually very distinct.
So Virginia rye whiskey is kind of, I like to say it's pretty much the first whiskey style of America.
Okay.
Because before a lot of other states were making whiskey, you had George Washington making Virginia rye at Mount Vernon, and his rye was very similar to ours in kind of DNA wise, and okay. So our Virginia rye is 100% unmalted rye whiskey, so it's smoother. It's not, like I said earlier, that grassy kind of earthy flavor. It's a little bit sweeter. I like to use the word stone fruit when I talk about our rye specifically, because you get a lot of stone fruit. But generally, Virginia rye is a much more approachable kind of flavor profile, at least with ours. And I think it kind of disappeared because of Prohibition. A lot of every distillery in Virginia closed after Prohibition, and so it was kind of lost because of Prohibition. And so we kind of helped it make a resurgence. And so it's something new, and who doesn't like something new?
Yeah, right. Well, I really appreciate your responses. I really appreciate you also being on our virtual happy hour. Hope you had a good time with that.
I did.
So again, that's good. And I'm thirsty now. I love the cocktail recipes that you made. They all seem very appetizing. Something very easy that we can all make from home. Again, if anyone's interested in buying the product, please visit spirithub.com, where even right now is a special for watching us, valid now through Friday, May 1st, using promo code HAPPY4, that's HAPPY and the number 4. All orders using that promo code will get 10% off plus free shipping, and that's across the board. So remember to use that promo code. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Edward, I appreciate you taking the time all the way from Texas for joining us, and especially the viewers that hopped on. Edward, do you have anything else to say before we cut this out?
No, I'm just happy that I got to be a part of this, and get out there and enjoy the rest of your quarantine and hopefully have some delicious cocktails.
Yeah, for sure. And for everybody else, feel free to join us also next on this upcoming Thursday. We have Iron Fish Distillery, who'll be joining us at the same time, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. Again, thank you very much. And don't forget to order from spirithub.com if you're an Illinois resident. Thank you guys and have a great night.